Ito ang inyong lingkod na nagbabalik upang magbigay ng mga balitang walang bias at pawang katotohanan lamang. Ito ang Bayang Pinas. Ang isyung ito ay naging usap-usapan sa buong bansa at iba't ibang social media platforms. Congressman Rodante Marcoleta, tila ba at muling pinalamon at pinalunok ng kahihiyan muli itong si Congressman Benny Abante ng kahihiyan. Tila ba wala na talagang makapalag or hindi na talaga makapalag itong si Abante na ito dito kay Congressman Rodante Marcoleta dahil nga sa mga kahihiyan na kanyang or mga kahihiyan na inilabas nitong si Congressman Abante or Congressman Marcoleta laban dito kay Benny Abante Jr. na ito. Tila ba wala talagang makatalo dito or hindi ka question at wala kang makitang butas. Ni umanong kahit isang kakuting na butas ay wala kang makitang issue dito kay Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. Kaya na lamang itong si Abante na ito ay walang masabi at ang ginagawa na lang ay puro pasigaw dahil alam niya sa kanyang sarili ay hindi siya makakapalag at hindi niya kakayanin itong tindig nitong si Marcoleta na ito. Tila ba lagi na lang napapanis itong si Congressman Abante na ito. Paanong hindi mapapanis yan? Ang kaharap niya, attorney, at hindi lang basta attorney, veteranong mambabatas pa. Kaya na lamang hindi maiwasan ng ating mga netizen na magbigay ng kanilang mga hinaing. Dapat talaga lahat ng kakandidato ng congressman, senator, president, vice president, mayor, lahat ng binigay ng pulis at NBI clearance sa COMELEC at sa taong bayan ng Pilipinas. Bakit tinatanong lang yung kanyang citizenship ay humingi na agad siya ng executive session? Anong tinatago mo na di dapat malaman ng taong bayan ay gusto mong maging public servant? Tulfo, dyan mo ipakita ang angas mo kay Senator Marcoleta to be. Ganun ka sana magtanong, Tulfo. Malumanay na meron respeto at hindi ka tulad mo na akala mo kung sinong magaling. Hindi ka naman abogado. Malabo ka na, Tulfo, sa susunod na eleksyon. Napakalungkot isipin na karamihan ng mambabatas ay mayroong mga criminal cases. Dapat baguhin na ang batas sa mga kumakandidato ay dapat malinis at walang criminal records. Dapat hindi sila allowed na magsilbi sa pamahalaan. Well, para nga sa kabuang detalye at impormasyon ay panoorin na lamang ang buong video. At salamat na rin sa ating mga solid viewers sa walang sawang pagsuporta. At kung bago naman sa ating channel ay syempre, huwag kakalimutang mag-subscribe, pindutin ang notification bell, piliin na rin ang all upang laging maging updated sa mga balitang bago, totoo at walang bias dito sa channel ng Bayan, ang Bayang Pinas. Huwag din pong kakalimutang mag-iwan ng like at share ang ating mga videos. Muli po mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po, and to God be the glory and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary, a follow-up to the question of my colleague, Congressman Malapitan. It's about your being an enlisted personnel of the United States Army for several years, and you have been in active military service stationed in Europe from 1992 to 1996. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to be an enlisted personnel in the U.S. Army, either you are a citizen by birth, meaning to say you are a U.S. citizen, or you have acquired U.S. citizenship by naturalization, or that you are a lawful permanent resident. Under what circumstances did you, what is the status of your citizenship when you were enlisted member of the U.S. Army and when you serve as an active military service station in Europe, sir?
Mr. Chair, with all
Yeah.
due respect,
Senator Estrada.
Congressman Marcoleta, I think the good secretary has asked for the executive session with regard to your
Okay,
question.
okay.
Maybe
And
we can-
there's another
we can,
question.
jump to another question.
My other question, Mr. Secretary, also appears in the report of the commission. This is the PIR, the Profile Investigation Report, because it is indicated here that you were also convicted 4 times in the RTC in Pasay City. Is this still covered by the executive?
So it was tendered only on the citizenship.
Okay.
Can I answer that, Your Honor, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please, Mr. Secretary.
That case is related to my profession as a journalist, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. There was a conviction, that's correct, but it is because of my line of work as a journalist. It's a libel, 4 counts of libel. Same individual, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
What does that exactly mean, Mr. Secretary, if you were convicted 4 times in a case involving a single individual?
No,
What do you,
it's not for convictions, actually. It's the count, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, 4 counts of libel that I was convicted by the same individual. I was a columnist and I write a story about the person, about the government official, actually. And I have my sources and I was compelled by the court to divulge my sources, but I did not. So it went all the way up to the Court of Appeals and to the Supreme Court, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. And
yes, that is exactly the point, Mr. Chair. There are 4 counts of libel and you were convicted by the Pasay Court, and on appeal, the Court of Appeals affirmed the conviction all the way up to the Supreme Court. And so, by record, and as it appears in the file report, Mr. Secretary, it stands as a fact that you were convicted for counts of libel. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I admit that there was a case, but it was, like I said, in line with my work as a journalist, and it's one of the hazards of the trade, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Well, of course, you were precisely convicted because of your work. You are a journalist, but that does not change the situation. You can be convicted either way in any other vocation, but the fact stands that there is a conviction. The problem we're trying to press out here, Mr. Chair, is whether or not his conviction will be an issue in the process of confirmation, because as the Supreme Court enunciated in several cases, Mr. Chair, libel is an offense that involves moral turpitude. And in some other cases disposed by the Supreme Court, there were certain people who were disqualified from holding positions because they have been convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude. This is the dilemma, Mr. Secretary. Of course, I am in support of your confirmation as Secretary of DSWD, and I believe you have just succeeded in proving to our people that you are qualified. But this is a problem that we need to trace out, Mr. Chair. How do we dispose this dilemma before us? Because it is in the report. I could not have asked you this question, Mr. Secretary, if it did not appear in the report submitted to us by the Commission on Appointments. Mr. Chair, thank you.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, considering that there was a request and a line of questioning will be tackled within the executive session, since we are a collegial body, we have to tackle this as a group. So may I suggest and reiterate, Mr. Chair, that we proceed for an executive session. So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's a motion duly seconded.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Escudero.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do take note of the comments of Congressman Marcoleta. However, I would like to state for the record as well that there are many pending bills, both in the House and in the Senate, to decriminalize libel. In fact, the visit by our own DOJ Secretary to the United Nations, that was in fact even suggested by the Canadian representative. And I myself am an author of a bill seeking to decriminalize libel. So if this would be taken against the nominee, and later on that bill is approved by Congress, I think it would be prejudicial, to say the least, and unfair if he would be taking that against him. Just for the consideration of the committee, Mr. Chairman, when we go into caucus later.
Una po tungkol sa expanded solo parents welfare law implementation, binanggit na rin ni Sec kanina. The effective implementation of the Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act relies much on the gathering and consolidation of the solo parent database, and the DSWD is the repository of this database. Paano po ini-intend ng DSWD i-harmonize yung solo parent registry mula sa listahan ng data ng inyong department at yung namang ding records ng community-based monitoring system ng mga LGUs? At pwede po bang makakuha ng time frame para sa consolidation nitong database?
Na-inform na ho namin, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, yung pong DILG kasi manggagaling po sa kanila yon. Sila po yung magbibigay, yung mga local government units, mga munisipyo, mga lungsod na magbibigay po ng listahan sa DILG. Kami po ay bibigyan ng DILG. Yun po inaantay namin, and we have already informed them, Your Honor. We asked them kung pwede as much as possible they can do it. So they were asking to give them a few months, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. So, nung sinabi po ng DILG na ibibigay nila sa department nyo within a few months, may estimate po ba kayo kung posibleng within the first quarter of next year ito?
Sana po, Your Honor, I believe that we will have to ask them again kasi kailangan din ho namin yon, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, para sa aming file, sa aming system. Kasi po baka may mga magrereklamo, may mga magsusumbong, lalo na po sa mga retail industry, sa mga tindahan kasi medyo yung mga solo parent po natin, may mga discounts po sila na matatanggap actually sa mga tindahan.
Salamat, Mr. Chair, Sec. So kung sabihin natin best case scenario, within first quarter, maibigay ng DILG sa department nyo yung mga data nila, posible bang within the second quarter, makonsolidate na ng DSWD? So by June, ay pwede na po talagang masimula ng lahat ng solo parents na nandun sa database nyo, pakinabangan lahat ng benefits sa batas.
Your Honor, kung pahintulutan niyo ho ako, gagamitin ko ho yung pangalan niyo para kulitin po yung DILG na ilabas po yung listahan within the first quarter, Your Honor.
Okay lang naman po, Mr. Chair, Sec, kasi hindi naman galit sa akin si Sec Avalos. At tulad po ninyo, alam din nila na tulad ni Majo at yung iba pang mga kasamahan dito ay authors po ng Solo Parents, Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act. Salamat, Sec, Mr. Chair. And now, the DILG also has a mandate to supervise LGUs to ensure that they're able to perform mandates that are assigned to them. They also have a program called the Seal of Local Good Governance, Good Local Governance, Seal of Good Local Governance that develops the indicators, including for social protection mandates, based on which recognition and rewards for minimum compliance are given. Nakapag-officially reach out na po ba kayo, Sec, sa DILG Sec ulit para siguruhin na yung indicators para sa minimum compliance dun sa Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act ay maging bahagi ng SGLG goals ng LGUs?
Opo, actually, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, meron po kaming initial na usapin hinggil dyan, but then meron po kaming gagawin para mas extensive po yung usapan hinggil dyan. Within the next few weeks, so siguro o palipasin lang po itong Christmas, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, para talagang mailatag po na maayos. Gusto ko talaga ho, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, na yan ay tatakbo na smoothly. Gusto ko lang po ipagbigay alam sa iyo, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, na yung discounts na inaasam-asam po at inaantay ng mga solo parents para po doon sa may mga 0 to 6-year-old, hindi po makapag-umpisa kasi wala pa daw yung sinasabi po ng BIR. Ito po yung aming tinututukan ngayon, kinukunito sila na kung pwede kasi hindi pa rin daw makapagbigay ng discounts. Kailangan daw sa BIR po yun, may approval po ng BIR. So ito po yung tinututukan natin, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, para fully implement na po itong expanded solo welfare law, Your Honor.
Salamat, Mr. Chair, and I'm sure ma-appreciate din po ng mga partner LGUs ng department, maisaayos itong usapin with the BIR, so yung pakinabang ng mga solo parents sa mga discounts na on the side of maging bahagi, harinawa ito, criteria para sa SGLG. Sabi niyo, Sec, within a few weeks or yun na nga palipasin ang Pasko. So, posible po ba na, maganda po kasi kung Enero pa lang, unang buwan ng bagong taon, ay kasama na nga po yung compliance sa Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act bilang criteria sa SGLG na alam na po ito ng mga LGU. So, posible po kaya within the first month or months of the new year?
Schedule na po yan. We have already asked them. Inaantay lang po namin ang Department of Interior and Local Government hinggil po dyan. So, babalikan po namin ulit sila, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, na kailangan na po talaga, badly needed po yan. Kailangan na po talagang maipatupad yung batas na yan alang-alang po sa mga kababayan natin na solo parent, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
At harinawa, Sec, maisama nga po yung compliance doon sa SGLG criteria.
Opo, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Salamat po, Mr. Chair. Dako naman po ako dun sa 4-piece Pantawid program ulit, kasunod nung interpellation ni Madjo. In light of the various circumstances affecting the implementation of the 4-piece program, at narinig ko nga po, Sec, binanggit nyo kanina yung ilang mga pang-aabuso, pagsusugal, gamit yung cash transfer, pagbebenta ng card. Bagamat I would say, Sec, Mr. Chair, batay sa mga documentation, minority lang po ito. Ang majority po ng mga 4-piece parent leaders, lalo na ay compliant po talaga. Kaya nga po, nakapagpatapos sila at ang department sa pamamagitan ng 4-piece ng maraming nagtapos sa mga high school bilang valedictorian pa at salutatorian at saka ngayon mga scholars sa SUCs. But so in light of various circumstances, including those, I filed Senate Resolution 218 calling for the convening of the 4-piece Oversight Committee. This Oversight Committee shall initiate the sunset review of the program. So, mari po bang marinig kay Sec tungkol sa, kung dagdag po sa sinagot nyo na kay Madjo, yung inyong assessment sa 4-piece program, ano po yung mga current plans sa implementasyon nun, at mga reforma, mga innovations na gusto nyong isulong?
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Susuportahan ho namin yan. Yan ho inyong panukala, yung resolution ho na yan. Kasi kailangan ho, kung ako ang tatanungin niyo personally sa Secretary of DSWD, kailangan po talagang reviewin po ang Department of ang 4-piece po natin. Kung talagang ito po ay effective. Effective naman ho siya, Madam Chair, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, yung nga sinasabi, kailangan lang merong i-fine-tune po, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, dyan po sa 4-piece na yan. Kasi kagaya po nung sinasabi na marami po kasi biglang nawawala na lang, Your Honor. Hindi naman nagpapaalam. Nasa IRR po yun, nasa batas po yun na kailangan magpaalam nila. Magpaalam po sila. Pagkatapos, bigla na lang po magsusumo, magre-reklamo, pupunta po sa social media, bakit na hindi raw wala sila natanggap. Wala na ho sila doon sa kanilang tinitirahan. Iba na ho yung kanilang tirahan. O iba po nag-abroad na ho. Yun ang kailangan natin i-find out, Your Honor, Madam Mr. Chair. Kasi yung iba pinapasa po nila, naging OFW, pinapasa po nila sa nanay po nila. Dapat hindi na ho sila kasali. Yun ho yung kailangan linawin po natin. Sino ba ang po pwede OFW? Kasi sabi naman po iba, wala pa naman kaming 25,000 less lang kinikita namin. Dapat may papasok dyan. Pero OFW, pero may anak pa rin ako. hanggang ilan, hanggang anong grado? Kasi kung may anak po na 6, so yun ho ang sinasabi natin. So kung nakagraduate na po yung eldest, hanggang sa bunso po ba? Kailangan tuloy-tuloy sila? Kung ganun ho mangyayari, Your Honor, Madam Chair, sobra po sila dun sa limit na 7 years lamang na naipasa po ng Kongreso, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Sec. Mr. Chair, I think moving forward, mga importanteng tanong o issue po yun na kailangang talakayin ng department at sa anumang suportang maibibigay ng lehislatura. Interesting po, for example, yung point yung Sec na tungkol dun sa hanggang gaanong katagal. Naalala ko po tuloy na maging po dito sa kaninang pinag-usapan nating Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Law ay in-extend po yung unang pakinabang hanggang 18 years old lamang sa 22 years old. So in any case, progressive naman po yung legislation at kapag po may input or payo mula sa executive ay mas napapaganda po namin ang mga batas at ng executive ang implementasyon nito. So I'll leave it at that for now, Sec, Mr. Chair. So mga huling general questions na lang po, Mr. Chair. The President mentioned in his SONA that one of the objectives of his administration is to right-size the bureaucracy. However, your office increased the number of undersecretaries and by extension, additional staff requirements for each USEC. Mari po bang magtanong sa rationale ng mga appointments na ito? At paano po nito tutulungan ang DSWD na efficiently at effectively i-deliver ang inyong mga programa at serbisyo in light din po sa planned devolution ng ilan sa mga functions nyo gaya ng binanggit na rin ni Rep. Garbarria?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, siguro kung magdi-devolve na po yung ilang programs po natin next year, siguro mababawasan na rin po yung mga tao ho namin or after this administration or within the next few years. Kasi po, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, we have so many programs po na to attend. Isang example po dyan sa 4Ps na lamang po. Kailangan natin ng mga municipal link to check on the welfare of these people or status po ng mga members po natin. Meron din po tayong tinatawag namin na yung mga special project na grupo. Meron din po kaming yung mga USEC for special concerns, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, para naman matignan po yung mga ibang programa kung na-execute po properly. Katulad po nito mga community-based programs po natin ng mga Kalahi Seeds po na yan, yung mga Sustainable Livelihood Program po na yan. So, kailangan po namin ng tao na to run all these programs po dahil sa madami po siyang program, kailangan po may follow through. Hindi po kasi pag ibinigay po natin yung pondo, hindi na po natin babalikan. Kailangan pong balikan at kailangan pong mabantayan po na talagang hindi po na-waste, hindi po na sasayang yung pera na bigay po ng pamahalaan.
Salamat, Sec, Mr. Chair. So I guess pagbabalanse yung hinahanap natin pareho. Naintindihan ko naman po, Mr. Chair, yung sinabi ni Sec na rasyonale na para pangasiwaan itong mga dagdag na USEC, yung mga dagdag na programa o proyekto. Pero yun, dahil nga kung may planadong devolution, kailangan pa rin bantayan, again, moving forward, yung efficiency at saka effectiveness. And then, pangalawang general question ko, Mr. Chair, dati po kayong journalist, secretary, and in the course of your work, maaaring may mga nasabi kayong masasakit na salita na at least isa ay nag-apologize na po kayo at na-appreciate ko po yun. Nasa PIR na rin po ninyo na may nasabi rin kayong masasakit na salita sa isang online personality. Iniisip ko po kung nakapag-apologize na rin po Sec kayo sa kanya. Pero lalapitan ko na lang po kayo pagkatapos ng hearing para magtanong ng mas specific. I know Mr. Chair, good secretary, now that he's already in government, will be even more careful and sensitive with his statements. At salamat po kung ganoon, Secretary. So huling general question ko po para sa interpellation na ito, Mr. Chair. Upon your appointment to the DSWD, some social workers observed that you are inclined to engage in traditional or conventional social work. According to them, it means that under your leadership, the DSWD will promote and practice a system of patronage in the delivery of social services. If this is the case, it would necessarily negate gains brought about by transformative social work, and programs would be rendered vulnerable to partisan objectives. So, maaari po bang mahingi yung mga kaisipan nyo, Sec, kung papaano yung leadership ninyo ay magsisigurado ng isang transformative and development-oriented na social work practice?
When I assume office, Your Honor, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, ang una ko pong instructions po sa mga tao ko na I have an open door policy, okay? I will listen to ideas, to opinions, lalo na po ng mga matatagal na po sa DSWD. Kasi bago lang ho tayo dyan. And they're coming in po, Your Honor, yung mga ideas na ito brought by old employees, yung mga matatagal na po sa DSWD. Pangalawa po, we want naman, Your Honor, is to deliver all the services quickly as much as possible and on time. Pagkatapos ma-address po lahat ng problema ng mga kababayan ho natin. Gusto ko lang ho, my marching order to everyone sa DSWD po is that let us do our best and do what we do best to help those vulnerable, the poor, the needy, the marginalized as soon as possible. Hindi naman we cannot promise to alleviate their hardships sa buhay po. Pero we will have to try as much as possible given the funds, the funding and the time that the government gave us. Yun po yung aking instruction, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Sec. Damang salamat, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Senator Ontiveros. We now acknowledge Senator Bongo online to ask questions.
Mr. Chair, esteemed members of this commission, would like to express my utmost support for the ad interim appointment of Secretary Erwin Teshiba Tulfo as Secretary of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. The Department of Social Welfare and Development is the primary government agency mandated to develop, implement, and coordinate social protection and poverty reduction solutions for and with the poor. Ito pong pisinang ito napakahalaga po. Sila po at talagang nakatutok sa mga mahirap. Isa lang po ang pakiusap ko kay Secretary Tulfo. Huwag niyo pong pabayaan yung mga kababayan nating mahirap, yung mga helpless, yung mga hopeless, at yung mga walang matakbuhan. At alam ko po, may puso po kayo sa ating mga mahirap. The pandemic as well as many natural disasters have brought so much devastation to the country. Kaya naman po, ang panawagan ko kay Secretary Erwin ay prioritize po natin ang kapakanan ng ating kapwa. Lalo na po sa panahon na ngayon, binabagyot talaga tayo. Kaya naman napakalaking hamon nga po sa departamentong ito. Magtulungan tayo, magbayanihan po tayo sa kakabuti ng ating bansa. Let us continue striving towards providing a comfortable life for all. Katulad na lang nung administrasyon ni dating Pangulong Duterte, mahigit kumulang 1.12 million na katao po ang nakatanggap ng assistance under the AIX program, data from March 20 to April 2021. During the previous administration, marami po ang nabahagian ng tulong na tulungan po. Dapat hindi itigil ang programa na nakakatulong sa baba. If there are leaks in the implementation, let us plug the holes and make sure it reaches the right beneficiaries who need government attention the most. Sikapin po na padamihin pa, sikapin natin na padamihin pa po sa inyong termino. Alam ko naman po sa pamumuno ninyo, Secretary Tulfo, ay mas lalo pang mapapalakas at mas dadami pa ang matutulungan ng gobyerno. Tagal ko na pong kilala si Secretary Erwin, madalas bumisita sa Davao nung broadcaster pa siya. Kita ko ang kanyang saloobin at hangarin na tumulong para sa kapwa. Kaya naman labis ko ikinakatuwa na nabigyan siya ng pagkakataon na maging Secretary ng DSWD ng mandato po ay tumulong sa mga mahirap. Kung dati maraming sumusubaybay sa inyong programa, tsak na marami po kami sumusubaybay sa iyo at aasan makakatulong ka ng husto. na masigurong walang maiwan po sa muli nating pagbangon. Secretary Erwin, you have my full trust and confidence. Maraming salamat po sa iyong serbisyo, lalo-lalo na po sa mga kababayan.